really happy to be joining you today from unceded Algonquin and Anishinaabe territories in Ottawa. And a big congratulations to everyone involved in this huge, ambitious undertaking. It's been an incredible 7 panels, and I know we've all learned a lot from it. So really, from my perspective, this moment is really forcing us into confrontation with the vulnerabilities that are built into our economic and social systems. There are ongoing crises that lurk behind the current health and economic emergencies at hand. Inequality in income, wealth, access to essential services, racial and other forms of discrimination, colonial structures that perpetuate harmful resource and cultural extraction, and of course the externalization of environmental harm, which is ultimately what underpins the climate crisis and other forms of ecological collapse. And it's clear that these are not only vulnerabilities, but in many cases, they are also forms of tremendous violence and disruption. And I think it's important for us to acknowledge the uprising against these systems of violence and destruction that we're seeing all across North America. So from my perspective, if we are going to tackle these issues, if we're going to tackle issues like climate change, we have to come at them fundamentally as a fight for justice, as a way of bringing these intersecting vulnerabilities together, confronting them, and building resilience into those economic and social systems so that we are not faced with these overlapping, the same kind of overlapping crises in the future. We at Climate Action Network Canada, because we believe the fight for climate action is fundamentally a fight for justice, have over the last few months collaborated with hundreds of civil society organizations across the country to develop a just recovery, 6 principles for just recovery emerging out of the pandemic. You can find those principles at justrecoveryforall.ca. Right now, about 400 organizations coast to coast to coast across every sector, issue area you can imagine have signed on to those principles. And I believe that that is the framework, the overarching framework under which we must couch these really critical, detailed, granular recommendations that the work done under the Corporate Knights Project are putting forward, and the work that's happening in many other organizations. I'll finish with this thought. So in the conversation about building back better, I think a lot of us have been reflecting on the Bretton Woods moment and hoping for a Bretton Woods 2.0. At that point in history, when Bretton Woods happened in the first place, it was really led by a charismatic elected leader. This Bretton Woods, if it does happen, is going to be led by the people. And we need to be listening to those people who are in the streets risking their health and safety right now, calling for justice. If we are not able to speak to what they need, if we are not able to speak to the ways in which they're demanding safety and an improvement in their lives and their communities, then none of the recommendations that we are making are going to stick. I'm really looking forward to making some comments on some of the more specific ideas later in our conversation, but I really appreciate the opportunity to kind of set up that high level framing.